time for another Mass Effect video, everyone. Salutations, everybody. It's Matty here. We've never talked about this game before, Mass Effect Trilogy Remaster. It's not like in our last video talking about the game. We said we'll wait until there's an official announcement to really talk about it anymore, because I doubt there'll be any developments for the story. That never happened. I don't know what you're talking about. Don't accuse me of that. It didn't happen. So yeah, we're talking about this game again. Now, the difference this time is that there's not an actual leak like on some game listing or some website. This is actually updates on all the information that we've been covering for about the last week and a half. A lot of this transpired over this last weekend. As some of you may or may not be aware, I was away, so I apologize if I'm a few days late to this, but this is important information. We're talking about a brand new release date for the Mass Effect Trilogy Remaster. We're also talking about an update on those pre-orders and how all of this is going to come together into what I think is more tangible information for gaming's worst kept secret, probably of all time. This should have already been announced, but it's not. So, as always, with all of our Mass Effect Trilogy Remaster updates, we turn our attention toward the Grubb Hub, Jeff Grubb himself, who started this whole thing, right? This is his fault. This is his fault that I'm chasing this around constantly. Unbelievable, Jeff. Get real. Anyway, Jeff tweeted out on his Twitter account, have you heard about these video games? And he's had this thing called the Jeff Grubb's Summer Game Mess for, I want to say since May. And he's been updating it constantly, teasing little things here and there, but also just marking down new things that have been announced for this summer where we don't really have an E3, so everything's all over the place. We can see a mentioning of a DC Fandom, Gamescom, more wildcards. We just had the Nintendo Indie World. There's the September Xboxing Day. Jeff Grubb's Summer Game Mess 2021 begins in September, but most notably is in October. Remaster. With two S's. Two S's. I know what game you're playing, Jeff, and I gotta be honest with you, brother. It's not a game to me. This is my livelihood, Jeff. This is not a joke. I take my Mass Effect very seriously. If you think that toying around with us is gonna get you somewhere, well, you're damn right it is. So here we are talking about this. Now, I gotta be honest with you. I think this is obviously a direct call out that the Mass Effect Trilogy Remaster is coming out in October. I'm picturing Jeff right now, like sitting in his throne going, perfect. He's making another video, the moron. But seriously, I feel like considering he has started this whole thing, right? Like he is the one who said that the Mass Effect Trilogy Remaster is coming back in February. And now here we are in August. And he's saying it's coming in October. This does go against what we saw in some of the leaked listings that it was apparently coming in September. It's a little bit later than expected. However, Jeff is the man with the details, so I will say I take his word above all the other things I am seeing. So if he's saying it's coming in October, I believe that. However, when are we going to hear about the game, right? Like I said, this is gaming's worst kept secret, so when exactly are we going to hear about the game? Well, Jeff provided an update on that as well in a cryptic fashion. When he was tweeted, is that the announcement or the release of the remaster, Jeff said, why not both? Because of course we can't just have what we want right now when it's oh so close already. I think this is a big baller move by EA, by the way, to, it seems like, announce the game in October and then release it in October, like right in the heat of the holiday season. You'd think you'd give it at least like, I don't know, a month to get around, to build the anticipation, to percolate, so to speak. But that's not the way EA wants to do it. They may try to pull a Titanfall 2 here, except the difference is that Mass Effect is like super wildly popular, so it probably will be okay and make a lot of noise in our industry. But still, I'm super excited to know that it's coming this year. I had a pretty strong feeling since February when I just made a video speculating that it was coming this year because the Mass Effect Twitter all of a sudden just came alive again and started tweeting all these different things. But yeah, I gotta say, man, October, a little bit longer than I'd like to wait, but let's continue discussing, right? Because this isn't the only source of information. We gotta look at Game from UK, who initially leaked the pre-orders for this game. They have updated their approach to how this whole collection's been handled, and it's a bit peculiar. So let's read a Reddit post. Game UK cancels all Mass Effect Remastered N7 pre-orders. Here's an update to a recent post regarding Game UK taking pre-orders for the Mass Effect Remaster. Following the original post, there have been several updates to the listed release date for the remaster within the Game app. The original date was changed from September 29th to October 30th, so over a 1-month delay following the initial wave of articles and pre-orders. With that in mind, do remember that Shinobi did mention back on August 10th that the actual listing and the existence of the Mass Effect Trilogy Remaster is not fake. However, the release date and the name is inaccurate based off what was initially covered on this store listing and what people had been pre-ordering, especially over on games. So this does line up with trusted insiders across the industry. But of course, it just can't all be easy. Can't just have everything add up at once. That would just be too good. That'd be too easy. It'd be too direct, even though this is a horribly kept secret. So Game has changed some of people's pre-orders for the N7 collection, we'll just continue to call it. And now, if you look here at this digital receipt from 5 days ago, the updated release date is sometime in 2021. Now, obviously, it's not going to come out at the end of the year. That's just a placeholder for those who are unfamiliar. But now it's being pushed back to even then. If this were happening, I already know that Jeff or Shinobi probably would have said something. At least I'd expect Jeff to come out and say something and not just tweet the day before something about a remaster with 2 S's. I mean, what else could he be really talking about? There was an email actually sent to customers who had went out of their way and pre-ordered Mass Effect Remaster at Game. As you guys know, we covered a number of receipts that were available online and physically, people actually going directly to the store and putting their money down on a N7 game. So here's the email that was sent. Hi customer, you recently pre-ordered N7 with Game. Unfortunately, there has been a communication error and this product does not exist. Please head into the store you pre-ordered at to cancel your order and receive a refund of your deposit. Please check the release schedule on our Game app or online for a full list of games you can pre-order from us. We apologize for any inconvenience. Thanks for being a great customer, the Game team. Now what's interesting is as this was sent, as we talked about a little bit earlier in the video, they updated the release date to October, which coincides with what we were seeing from Jeff Grubb. With that said, they're also stating there was a communication error and the product does not exist. This would also line up with what Shinobi was saying when it came to the actual name of the game. Same thing with Jeff Grubb, the name of the game not being exactly what we saw was listed. So I'm not exactly sure where N7 collection came from for any of these websites. We saw in an initial listing, was this a placeholder title given by EA and bioware to prepare store saying, hey, we're going to ship out a bunch of copies of this game in the fall season, you know, prepare your store, here's the listing. It ended up leaking and hopefully they were expecting people to not catch on to it if it did leak, because I don't know why they didn't do just like game SKU and then put a number in there. I don't know if this is actually up to the respective store owners or the corporations themselves, or if the placeholder name given by the company who's making the game is what goes into the system. I'm a bit confused on how that works. I've never really worked at, say, GameStop, where I'm familiar with that stuff. I'm sure someone in the comments could help with that. But anyway, there's been a number of updates here with pre-orders, so if you were one of those people who did put your money down at Game, your pre-order's been canceled, but it seems like the date has shifted around anyway. So now what was originally supposed to be coming in September is coming possibly in October. Now I would say I buy into the October dates. You know, like I said, when you're seeing Shinobi, Jeff continuously double down, that speaks to me that as reliable insiders, they do have a source that continues to update them, and if that were to have changed, they would indicate otherwise. They would not double down, but instead be like, it's up in the air. At the very least, they would say that if it seemed like it wasn't going to happen. So it seems like a relatively locked in date. As we've gotten closer, Jeff continues to play games with the Mr. Matty channel. This is his little toy and he's just messing around with it, having me sprint around making Mass Effect videos constantly. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, another Mass Effect Remaster update is there. I would say, hey, I won't expect to talk about this game for a little while, but I imagine, considering this is a horribly kept secret, that sometime within the next number of weeks, or at least the next month, something's gonna pop out about this game. I imagine, like, watch, it'll be a cover art or an Amazon listing. Something's gonna pop up with this game because people are already on the prowl for it. People are hungry for this game, understandably so, right? Like, we've wanted this remaster of a trilogy for years and years. It's finally happening and we're so close, but it feels so far. So I'll keep my eyes out. Do expect more content for it. I'm sure there'll be more leaks, and you're in the right spot. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I leave it in your hands. What do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. Other than that, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram. Those links are in the description down below. Big thank you to all the patrons who continue to push the limits of this content. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.